Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. You're watching Original Art Hour Beyond. Joining me as usual is my co-host, Tony NY Jr. What's up? Hearing myself. There we go.
There you go.
Catch all the technical glitches in the first 30 seconds and we're good. Good to see you, Tony. Hope you had a good couple weeks. How you doing?
Not bad, not bad. Everything's good.
I'm good, man. So I'm excited because we're going to be joined right now by, I guess, what I would call an ambassador of the hobby, somebody who's working day in, day out in original comic art. And that would be Micah Spivak at ComicConnect.com/Metropolis. What's going on, dude?
Hey, how's everybody?
Chilling, man.
Thanks for having me.
Monday night, 10:30, late night. Everything's chill. We're going to have a good show. We're going to look at some of your art. We're going to talk about ComicConnect and Metropolis to some degree. So thank you for being on it, and thank you for promoting it. Major shout out to you. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And thanks for showing me Metropolis several weeks ago. I don't know how you get anything done there. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's... when you got to work, you got to work. You can't get too distracted. Sometimes you walk down the hallway and you linger for a minute.
Yes.
But when you see stuff every day, you get a little jaded by it, which I try not to do, because I try to appreciate it like it should be appreciated. Well, it's like if you work at the Louvre and you see the Mona Lisa every day, after a time it just becomes another painting.
That is true. I'll let you know once I have work experience at the Louvre.
Once you get that job at the Louvre.
Exactly. That's on my 2022 goal list. No, but let's say a quick hello. We got some chatters in here. We got Magic Lasso. What's going on, brother? We got D-Ron Comics. We got New World or NWO Comics. Biggie Shack. Good to see you guys. Appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out. So I am going to keep tabs on questions. If you guys have questions for Micah, in the live chat, just ask it whenever, and I'll try to go back to it, or I'll flag it on my end. I also took some questions from our little art group in advance later, so we will have some of those Q&A questions a little bit later. But Micah, why don't you just, you don't have to go through your whole origin story, but since you do work in the field, you are the comic art guy at ComicConnect/Metropolis, and I believe you worked for other dealers before that. Why don't you get into a little bit about how you got into the industry side of it?
I fell into it, honestly. I didn't set out to do this. It wasn't my goal.
Right.
But I started collecting art relatively young. So I was in high school when I started getting sketches and things. I started buying pages before I was 20.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been around for a long time. When it's a small group of people, you see the same people at conventions, and you become friendly with dealers and with whatever other collectors. And so for a long time, I was a casual buyer. I'd buy a piece or two a year. But you'd see these people, and you become friendly with some of them. And when it was a time like in mid 2000s, 2006, 2007, something like that, I had gotten an email out of the blue from Scott Eder, who had been a dealer since the early 90s, and he was opening up a gallery, and he asked if I wanted to go work for him, and I was between jobs, so I said yes.
Nice.
It's that's really all there was to it. I didn't look for it. It happened to ask me, and I worked for him for 12 years. So
wow.
And in doing that, I met everybody. You go to the big conventions, you meet all the collectors, you meet all the other dealers.
Yeah,
exactly. So when Scott decided,
relatively small world, but growing.
Yeah,
growing world.
Absolutely. And when Scott decided to downsize his business, which is, was a long time, comic art galleries have a much shorter lifespan than his did. So, and he's still kind of going with it. I decided I wanted to stay in this field in some capacity. So there's only so many options. There's not a ton of opportunity to work in comic art without becoming a dealer yourself. And that, and by that point, doing that just would have required just an insane amount of capital.
Sure. Yeah.
So I, and I'd known, Vincent at, Metropolis casually for years, and I'd heard that they were hiring. So I talked to him, and here I am.
Awesome, dude. Well, congratulations. I think it's pretty awesome to have comic art guy on your resume.
That's what my business card says, comic art guy.
Comic art guy, Micah Spivak. All right, well, that's awesome, dude. Quick version of your origin story. And so you started
that's collecting my professional origin story. So you started collecting
well before that, though, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, I started reading comics, as like 10, 11 years old.
Okay.
When I think a lot of people start reading comics who do.
Yeah.
I started going to conventions probably at around 15. And, when you go to conventions, you go get books signed. And so I would get books signed. And when you get books signed, you see people getting sketches. So then you're like, oh, I want to get sketches too. And then sketches lead to commissions, and commissions lead to published pages. It's like marijuana.
Been there. Yeah.
Just one little edible.
Yeah.
Good.
I just one more, and then I'm done. I swear. I can quit this anytime.
You started off really early, so how many pieces do you have, more or less?
Counting like sketches and things, there's like 260 something pieces in my Comic Art Fans gallery,
which is linked below if anybody wants to check it out. Yep. What's up, Shadow Glass?
I have a full sketchbook. I don't post a lot of free sketches.
Right.
I don't post none, but I don't post a lot. I don't post most of them. There's a few published pieces that aren't up there for various reasons. But probably 300 or 400, counting everything. Sketches in books would be another probably 100 pieces.
Nice.
I don't know. It's
pretty solid.
I've probably sold 50 or 60 pieces over the years. Just take change. I want to buy something I can't afford. You got to sell some stuff.
Yeah.
And are you? Do you have like an established group of artists that you're? I mean, you have a lot of stuff in your gallery, so probably even asking this question is stupid on my part. For anyone who didn't have the time to go look at it, like what are your
if you look at my gallery, you can kind of get a pretty good idea of what I like.
Yeah.
It's a lot of it's weird. A lot of it's obscure. Not all of it.
Stuff.
What's that?
I've noticed a lot of independent, like
and part of that is because I genuinely like those comics.
Right.
Another part of it is that a lot of that art is more affordable.
Yeah.
So you could, do I want to get a really nice page from an indie artist that I like, or a bottom of the barrel page from a mainstream artist that I like?
Great philosophical internal debate as a original art collector, right there.
So and I try. I like the diversity.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd rather get a bunch of different pieces by different artists than a bunch of pieces by the same artist.
I'm the same. I'm kind of similar to you in that regard.
You can look at my gallery and see that there are exceptions to that.
Sure.
I mean, there are artists that I have way too many pieces by, but a lot of that is just opportunity.
Yeah.
And also a lot of it is artist work isn't terribly expensive. So it's like, if I get 10 pieces from an artist where they're all under $50, I don't feel like I'm spending, I don't feel like it's the same as having like 20 Kirby pages.
Sure. Wouldn't we all love that?
Yeah. Now that I have one, what I'd really like is two.
That's dude. I'm in the same ballpark as you, where I have my one and I would love to. I'd love that next one.
But I feel that way about a lot of
Same.
there are situations where I'd love to upgrade a piece, and I wouldn't, and I'd sell. So I'd sell a piece that I have if I could get a better one. I've done that a bunch of times.
Totally, like having one example or trying to stick to one example, and obviously there are exceptions, but then upgrading.
Sometimes when you buy something, you're buying a placeholder.
Yeah.
This is something that I have to represent this artist, but I know that if something better comes along, I can get this much money for it.
Hoarders hide with a good quote here. My favorite piece of art is always my next one.
Well,
I know he's joking a little bit, but there's some truth to it, but I think he's joking. But yeah,
there's something to be said. It's like any kind of collecting where the newest piece is only exciting until you've had it for long enough to want something else.
Right.
And that's okay. That's what keeps us going.
Totally, man. I mean, look, I enjoy just going online and looking around for stuff like hours on end, not buying anything, just like kind of looking around. Like I get some pure enjoyment out of that, All
looking around does is remind me how expensive the things I don't have are.
Well, so I mean, I'm a collector. You're both a collector and a professional in the hobby. I can see. I don't
think about my collection that way though. I don't collect with the intent to move. I'll sell things, but not because I don't buy things thinking, all right, I'm going to keep this for 2 years, then I'm going to sell it.
Right.
I sell things because either something comes along that I want more.
But you are looking to consign things on behalf of your.
Well, I mean, that's my
right?
That's your
job,
work. Yeah. I mean, of course. Right. And I've sold things. I think a lot of collectors think about it that way, where you buy things because you want them at the time, but either something comes up where you need money, you lose interest in that collection, you lose interest in that artist. Most of the art that I've sold is because it was art that I liked when I bought it and I've kind of grown indifferent to. And there's no reason to keep something when I could sell that and buy something that I want more.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I have made huge mistakes doing that.
Well, let's not get into those. Let's not go into some sour territory. Let's go into some artwork, some happy territory.
Sure.
So Micah sent over about 10 or 11 pieces for us to share here, and
you were too lazy to pick them yourself.
That's all right. I was a little bit too lazy to pick them myself. I have your CAF page up as well in case we want to look at any of your other stuff, because you do have some other stuff that's really cool in your collection. But let's start with these. I don't know if you sent them to me in any particular order, but
nope.
I just kind of uploaded them here to the back end platform we have. So this is the first piece by Dennis Kitchen.
Yes. Dennis, I think most people think of Dennis as a publisher, and I wonder if a lot of people even know how good an artist he is. Because he doesn't draw a lot, because publishing is busy. It takes a lot of time.
Right.
So, I mean, he hasn't done any prolific drawing in 40 years, or maybe more. He'll do things every once in a while, but not the way he would if he wasn't busy doing all the work a publisher has to do. Sure. And he's also and now he's he's not. I don't want to say Dennis is old, because he's one of the most active and spry people I know, but he's he's in his 70s, and he's semi-retired. But for Dennis being semi-retired, he works more than most people.
Is this like a self-portrait of him?
It's not. That is his like caricature version of what he thinks like of a publisher would be. So that's
okay.
Technically, that character's name is Steve Krupp. Dennis's first publishing company was Krupp Comics Works.
Okay.
And so that was like the mascot of that company, who then kind of segued over to being the mascot of Kitchen Sink in the 70s.
Okay.
And that this piece was created for the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund's First Amendment portfolio in the 80s.
Cool.
Dennis was a founding member of the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund.
Very nice.
And when you pick this up?
I bought that 2 or 3 years ago Heritage auctioned off most of the originals from that portfolio, I think, to raise money for the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund. And I knew I wanted that one when it went up for sale.
Nice, man.
Because I wanted to have a nice piece by Dennis, and because there's not very many of them, they don't come up for sale very often.
There you go.
And I ended up paying less than I was willing to, so that's always nice too.
That's always a good thing. That's always a good feeling, not having to hit that bid button a few more times on Heritage. All right, well, very cool first piece. Here's the second piece. This is a Frank King strip art piece.
That's a Gasoline Alley. That piece will be 100 years old in 6 months.
Wow,
man.
I mean, Frank King's one of the greatest cartoonists who ever lived, and that period of Gasoline Alley from around 1920 to 1935 is as good as comics get. And both from a story standpoint, because it's Gasoline Alley it still is, as far as I know. It's because Gasoline Alley is still going on its like fourth or fifth writer artist, but it's the characters age in real time. So as the strip went along, the characters, aged with the readers, which is, I don't think anybody's tried anything like that since. It's almost impossible. I
mean, that's like contradictory to what most pop culture IP does. So, I
mean, the characters in Peanuts had an age spurt at the beginning, but then they never aged again.
Right.
Also, as an artist, it's just fabulous. I mean, there are better examples than this one of his drawing, but
right. I tried to lay it out in a way where I could like have the whole thing horizontal and then like zoom in, but there wasn't enough screen real estate to do that. So,
put up to the camera.
That's as good as you can do. Oh, you got it with you. Awesome. Let's look at that.
Wow, huge.
Yeah, that's big.
Wow. Well, it's actually smaller than I don't know if you've ever seen an original Peanuts. But they're much bigger they're twice as big as this. So I don't know if how good the camera is.
It's going in.
You can sort of see it.
Yeah, we could see it.
Beautiful.
Very cool. Yeah, man.
I'll hopefully have another one of these before too long.
So I always wondered. I always thought that they would do the whole story, like like each of those panels would be like a whole story, and then we just put every week or every day to put like 4 panels. So is this how he does? Is that how they used to do the artwork? Just 4 of them. And then he'll do something else.
Well, I mean, I think the number of panels depended on how many panels the artist needed. I mean, sometimes artists would use, less than 4. I mean, I imagine sometimes they would use more. It's before comic strips became sort of like smaller and smaller and like shoved into the corners of papers.
Right.
They were given a lot of freedom. The strip was the same size every day. So now they have to create them so that they can be either a horizontal or a square. So you kind of either have to do 4 panels or 2 panels. But back then they could do whatever they wanted. Comic strip artists were rock stars in the 20s, 30s, and 40s.
Yeah.
I mean, they were famous, like rich and famous. I mean, Alex Raymond, died showing off his fancy new sports car because he was a rich, famous guy who could afford a fancy sports car. And,
yeah, I never expected those pages to be that big, like those panels are. And you're telling me the Snoopy one was bigger. Wow.
Much, much bigger.
Yeah.
The original Peanut strips are probably this big.
How big are those Alex Raymond, like Flash Gordon strips?
It's been a long time.
I don't have any strip art, Micah. I don't have any strip art, but like that's like one thing where I think it's cool, and like I would love to have an example at some point.
A lot of them are very inexpensive.
It's surprisingly inexpensive. I mean, I grew up reading Belgian comics, like Asterisks and Tintin and everything, and I can't afford any air piece at all. Like I can't afford a 2-inch by 2-inch.
I can't afford Harry's signature.
Sketch. Yeah, seriously, I can't afford his signature. I mean, obviously he died.
I mean, I could, but it would be. I don't want to pay what his signature is worth.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Like it.
So, like, there's
This is a Pogo. This is a Pogo strip. It's about the same size, maybe a little smaller.
Okay.
That's from the 50s.
Cool. Yeah, I need to get a little bit more educated on the different strip artists and the market and
the good ones value is going up.
Yeah,
which is good. It should. Those comics are important. All they're doing is getting older.
Right.
It's
look at your piece, 100 years old already for this shit.
Almost.
I mean, like, geez.
Well, I collect Spider-Man stuff, and just getting a freaking like Alex Saviuk like Spider-Man Sunday like is a challenge now. You know what I mean? I don't have any Spider-Mans published. Strips.
Do I have any published Spider-Man? I have a Brendan McCarthy Spider-Man page from his Doctor Strange Spider-Man miniseries, cool. But that's hardly what people would consider Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And my page I have doesn't even have Spider-Man on it. It's just Doctor Strange.
Still cool,
yeah.
Man. Yeah. Let's go to your third piece. This is a Guy Davis.
Sandman?
That's Sandman Mystery Theater.
Wow.
Guy Davis unfortunately doesn't make comics anymore. But he was one of my favorites going back to... I guess this probably would have been right around when I was first exposed to him. This comic probably started in like 92, 93. But he would go on to draw a whole ton of comics in Mignola's Hellboy universe. Right. He created a book called The Marquis, which is fabulous. Just great, like Victorian murder mystery comic. It is a really unique drawing, really great sense of style, of old fashioned in a way. Mm-hmm. And I have several.
I just really like the like noirish.
Yeah. Well, Sandman Mystery Theater takes place in the 20s.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the Roaring 20s comic. It's like the Golden Age Sandman. The jazz age detective.
Awesome. Okay, and then moving on, we got your number 4 piece is a Harvey Kurtzman piece.
Harvey Kurtzman.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
If there's a Mount Rushmore of comics, Harvey Kurtzman is on it.
For sure.
You could argue about who's on it, but I think Kurtzman and Kirby would be 2 givens. So it's like, that was the first thing I ever bought from Heritage, like 2003.
Wow.
I didn't think I would win it. Assumed it would go for more than I was willing to pay, and then it didn't.
Oh yeah.
That's from his book, the Jungle Book, that came out in 1959. I want to say 58 or 59. I think it's the first graphic novel. People like to argue that it predates Will Eisner's Contract with God by 15 years, and it's exactly the same format: short stories collected in a paperback book.
Nice.
But it wasn't popular, so nobody talks about it.
So this is like more than 7 years old.
59. So would be yes.
Yeah, about.
Well, no, 60.
Oh, 60
and change.
Sorry, never count on me to do the math correctly.
That's what he did right after Mad ended. He did that book.
Okay.
Well, after he left Mad.
Right. Historic piece, man. Love that. Okay, next up we got is this 11 Rockets? Jamie.
It is 11 Rockets.
Oh wow.
Nice.
If you're gonna collect indie art, so post underground, alternative comics,
mm-hmm.
And you want to have a real collection, there's a few artists you need, and Jaime is one of them, and they arguably invented what we consider modern alternative comics with Love and Rockets.
Oh yeah.
And I'm glad I got that when I did, because those pages are getting more and more, as they should. They're important.
I noticed that they come up pretty regularly now on Heritage.
That's actually my second one. That's a piece that I didn't upgrade it on intentionally, but I had one, I sold it, and I bought it.
Nice.
Very nice.
I love 9-panel pages, dude.
It's
right?
it's the perfect comic book format. 9 panels is how comics should be. Ask Alan Moore.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think that's probably where a lot of my fandom from it comes from, is the Alan Moore stuff. But okay, cool. Moving on. Let me see if I can find this piece. This is Jim Woodring?
Jim Woodring.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Woodring is just. I mean, he's one of the most unique cartoonists. He doesn't draw like anybody, and nobody draws like him.
I'm not super familiar with his work, so I would like.
You and a lot of other people.
I would. I mean, just being honest with my,
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's
expertise and this kind of stuff.
I don't know. For some reason, the character looks familiar from somewhere. I don't know where the character looks familiar.
I mean, he's been drawing these comics for 40 years.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been making comics since the early 80s, and for whatever reason, he has his audience, and they're very loyal. But it's they're too weird for kids, and maybe too weird for adults. If that makes sense. So they're too scary for kids, because I think kids would love his drawing, but it would be bad parenting to give them to a kid.
So in this example, is there no dialogue on this page?
Almost all of his comics are wordless.
Got it. Okay.
Which is actually good for him, because it makes them more successful in Europe and in Japan.
Right.
Because there's no translation needs to be done.
Correct. Yep.
So he's actually moderately, he's much more well known in France than in America.
And is this is his work usually published in black and white like this, or is it
mostly? Most of his work is black and white.
Cool.
He's been putting out books, semi-regular books with graphics for the past 10 years or so. Like a book every 2 or 3 years. They're like 100-page books every 2 or 3 years.
Cool, man.
This is from the early 90s. This page.
Very nice.
Very nice. Okay, well, we got how many, 5 pieces left, I think, and then we'll have time for kind of just looking around your gallery on CAF and some questions. So I think we're making good pace here. This next piece is by Matt Wagner.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's an awesome page. I love it. Yeah.
Matt Wagner is one of the guys who I still like a lot, that I also liked when I was 15. You'll get to another one eventually as you go through the list. Right. I think Matt Wagner, is one of the best storytellers that has ever made comics. I think his sense of pacing and panel layout is uniquely him, especially his work from, say, the late 80s to the mid 90s.
Right.
This is from his Batman Faces story arc from the Legends of the Dark Knight series. And it's, in my mind, one of the 5 best Batman stories. And maybe the best Batman story that isn't by Alan Moore or Frank Miller. Right. I just think it's a great comic. This was a case where I did actually have a page, and I got a better page.
I think you're right about. I mean, it's an underrated book. For sure.
Yeah, it's a great comic. I don't even know if it's in print. The pages don't come up for sale, and when they do, they're expensive.
That guy falls for eyes.
he definitely. Well, it's a face gets gathers himself with a bunch of sideshow freaks.
I was debating whether I zoomed in on just that one guy, that one panel, or give you that block of 9 panels, and I just love that block of 9 panels so much.
Yeah. If you watch the movie Freaks by Todd Browning, most of these characters are based on actual sideshow freaks, right? And then they turn on Two-Face, and here's where they turn on Two-Face.
That's a killer page, man. Love that page. Okay, so I'm guessing this is the one that you liked when you were 15, but you tell me if I'm wrong on it.
I might have been younger. Oh, no.
No, okay, not. Okay, so that's still to come. But here we have David Mazzucchelli Daredevil page, which I'm a huge fan of Mazzucchelli Daredevil.
Who isn't?
Who isn't? So, and that, that page is freaking amazing, dude. I love it. Beautiful.
If you want to be really disappointed, though, I got this page in a trade for a much, much better Mazzucchelli Daredevil page. So
you traded away your better page for this page?
Yeah. Wow. Well, it wasn't not just for this.
Oh, okay. There was other pieces to the deal.
Yeah, because somebody really wanted it, and I eventually made me an offer I thought was fair, because I couldn't see the future and didn't know that those Born Again pages would be 5 digits.
Shame on you for not seeing the future, bro.
Nope. But I like this page a lot. It's inked by Mazzucchelli, which most of the pre-Born Again Daredevils aren't. And I like it. I'm happy to have it. You can't. What am I gonna? What am I gonna do? You can't change what. You can't change things. So, but I wouldn't have done the deal if this page wasn't part of it, because at least I was getting with Mazzucchelli back in return.
So one of our chatters here, TJ Sladdragon Watson, is hinting that his birthday is coming up, so he would love this page. No, this is a gorgeous page. TJ's a big Daredevil guy, and this is amazing, dude. So this is Mazzucchelli inking himself?
Inking himself, yeah. Wow. Daredevil 217.
So nice, man.
It's I think the second issue. It's the second issue that he inked himself.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't want to stop looking at this one. I love this one.
At that last panel is the first panel is the most Mazzucchelli. It's just the way he stages that little car crash and the way the figure is posed is like, that could be a Batman Year One panel.
Totally.
And then there's just like the last panel, I think is fantastic.
I love the whole page, man. It's
beautiful.
An amazing page. All right. Well, I don't want to move on from that one, but we will. We will. So next up, we have this really interesting Mignola piece.
Son of Googam.
Yes, that's Mignola did this for one of his convention sketchbooks maybe 10 years ago. He did a section in the back of one of his. I don't know if you've seen his convention sketchbooks.
I haven't. No, I personally haven't.
He would do one every. He usually does one every couple of years. It'll be just either black and white versions of like variant covers he's done mixed with just random drawings. Something to have for sale at a convention. But in this book, he did a whole section in the back of Kirby monsters.
Nice.
And this was one of those. And I'm a big fan of Kirby monsters.
So am I, dude. Hell yeah.
So, I've actually gone through quite a few Mignolas. I find the Hellboy pieces are too valuable to keep. I'm constantly tempted to sell them just because what they're worth. I could get something else.
Sure.
So this was a nice piece that gives me what I think is a pretty great Mignola, and also in a subject matter that is appealing to me, and a size that is appealing to me. It's very small. I'm a big fan of small art because I live in New York and I only have so much wall space.
All three of us on here have that problem.
That piece is only this big.
Oh wait, let me go to you full screen. Oh wow, okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's a nice and tight, small sized for storage and or display. I love it. I'm with you, man. I'm not a big Hellboy guy, but I can appreciate Mignola's art, but I'm not like, it's just not a character title that I've ever really like just gone.
The main piece of the trade for my Mazzucchelli Born Again page was a Hellboy pinup, and I don't think I kept it for a year. It was worth too much. And I actually turned it into painting over here.
Nice. Very cool. Okay, so next up we have on your list, maybe this is the one you liked when you were a teenager, the artist.
That's it. And another 50s Kirby monster.
Right, there you go. But
Zemnu the Titan by John Byrne. John Byrne is why I read. So
sorry, say that again. Your audio cut out. John Byrne's Why You Read Comics?
Why I Read Comics, yeah.
Why You Read Comics. Okay.
So when I was 11, John Byrne had just started, his little revamp of Superman. And that was the first comic that made me go back to the store for the next issue. Because when you're a kid, you read comics every here and there, but you're not like steadily going back for the next one.
Sure.
So John Byrne is what made me go back to the store for the next one. And I've had a bunch of John Byrne art over the years. I had at one point I had 4 or 5, and then I was like, why do I have 4 or 5? So I sold most of them. Then I ended up selling the last one to buy something else, and then this piece came along, and I needed it. I like it because it's 80s. I like it because it's a weird creature. I like it because it's from the Marvel Handbook. I love art created for weird reference books. I very much want to have a DC Who's Who piece, but they don't come up for sale very often.
No, it totally would have to be something that was. It totally belongs. Like it fits with your collection. You could.
Yes. I have another Byrne too, but this one's better.
I love this, man. Okay.
My only beef with that piece is that it's inked by Joe Rubinstein, which is fine. Nothing wrong with Joe Rubinstein.
I like fine inking, yeah.
But it was intended to be inked by Terry Austin.
Oh, really?
And that would have been better. Just having a Byrne Austin would have been better. But no, I don't want to knock Joe Rubinstein. He's a perfectly fine inker. It's just it would have been cool to have. It's like having a Kirby Fantastic Four that's not inked by Joe Sinnott.
There you go. Yeah.
There's a note on the page that's
as
mostly
far as
erased.
Ultimate, penciler inker iconic pairings go, that they're on that.
Yeah, it's like Miller Jansen, Byrne Austin, Kirby
Sinnott, yeah.
Kirby, and then Kirby Royer. So you got
Kirby Royer
because his career was very long.
Yeah. No, I love that one, man. Super cool, eclectic piece by Byrne. And you sent me one final piece for the scans, or I guess this is a photo technically.
Oh, it's a photo.
Yeah, this is the Kirby. This was crossing off one of your grails on your list or one of your targets.
Yeah, I've only had that I think I got that in January, so I've only had it for like 4 months. Thanks, Stimulus.
Which issue? Eternals.
It's from Eternals number 8.
8.
There is an Eternal up there hiding in the back. The only lady on the page.
Yeah, I see her now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've been looking for a Kirby page for a long time. Too long because it ended up costing me more money for waiting. But in the price range I was looking at, you'd see a lot of Kirby pages that were almost good enough.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd see a lot of pages that had like one great panel, or like mostly a good page, but one panel that was just like a super weird. And this page was offered to me, and it was both in my price range, and I couldn't find any problems with it. I was like, I like everything about it, and it's got a whole bunch of monsters. And you know how I feel about Kirby monsters.
And I mean, you got Kirby vehicle on there.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it, dude.
I mean, I love the expression on that figure in the first panel. Just that's
totally
perfect Kirby eyes.
Just screams Kirby. Yeah.
And then all the creatures down at the bottom. Just it's pretty fantastic.
Amazing.
And it's inked by Mike Royer, which is what I wanted.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have any Kirby crackle in it, but you can't have everything.
It's got pretty much everything but that. You're right.
Pretty much, yeah.
But it's still a phenomenal page, dude. Amazing. Congratulations on that one. Okay, so I have your calf here. We'll do just a little bit, like maybe 5 to 10 more minutes of just kind of browsing your collection on there and anything you may or may not want to talk about. Let me do the share screen thing. And there it is. All right. Can we see that? All right. So there's your, maybe I can go full screen on this and still hear everybody. So there's the 6 pieces that you're featuring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of which, I mean, this one's, I mean, like, because I was trying to collect this run on the comic side. I think I got.
There's only like 4.
I know, right? I think I have 2 out of the 4 books, and I can't find the other ones because it's not.
Somebody was talking about reprinting them recently.
Really?
Well, now that Ditko's not around to fight it.
Okay, but so this is the cover to Mr. A #1, right?
It's okay. So it's in a roundabout way. So Mr. A started in the late 60s. They put out 2 Mr. A comics in the early 70s. This was the cover to what would have been a Mr. A series from 1990 that never came out.
I see. Okay, gotcha.
So this was eventually published as what is called Mr. A #15, but it is actually just because Ditko's a weird guy, part of his sort of like self-published series from the 2000s. It was just the 15th issue, but it was the Mr. A issue. So it was published eventually.
Got it. Okay. Got it. So he drew this 31 years ago. Yeah.
He drew it in 1990. Yeah, he drew it in 1990. Yeah. The art says 91, but the 1 is pasted over the 0 because I think that's when it would have been published.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then it was finally published in like 2007 or something like that.
Got it.
Maybe later than that.
And then you also have a Robert Crumb piece featured on here, which, you know, I know very little about Robert Crumb, but I do follow the market and I see what his art, I see the prices, you know what I mean? So, it has piqued my curiosity a little bit.
That's the most expensive piece of art I've ever bought.
There you go.
And and I had help buying that. That was a co-purchase of me and my girlfriend. It was some trade and some cash, and it was a big, thing that we both wanted that we were able to pool some stuff together. And
congratulations, man. I mean, I know very little about it, but it's very
well. There's a movie. There's a movie you can watch. It'll tell you everything you need to know about it.
Oh, what's the name of the movie? I need to write.
It's called Crumb.
Oh, it's just called Crumb. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me go put that on my. Is it on streaming somewhere? I'll find it. I'll find it.
It's the Criterion put it out on disc, so wherever you can stream Criterion stuff, probably, or it's probably on YouTube.
Just like everything. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and then real quick, I'll show this because I know that we were talking a little bit about it earlier with Schulz and like the size or whatever. This isn't a printed published strip, but it's a Schulz. Which
it's about the same size as he would have drawn a figure in the published strip.
Okay, so it's about the size of a panel. I mean,
part of how I know that,
man.
Part of how I know that it's real because that was bought not without 100% certainty.
Got it.
My girlfriend found that on eBay.
The provenance and stuff to it.
So on the back of it, it was in a really terrible frame when we got it, and so we took it out of the frame. It was very inexpensive. We took it out of the frame, and on the back of the drawing it's like clearly a cut piece of board, and on the back of it is 3 sides of a panel border. So clearly it was cut from what would have been, just a blank strip that was, that was no drawing in it. But the 3 sides of the panel border are exactly the size Peanuts was drawn.
Dude, that's really
so wow. It's just like that. It helps to prove its authenticity. Also, his art is almost impossible to copy. It's much, much more difficult to draw like that than it looks.
Right. It looks like you're going to cost me $2.99 on Amazon Prime tonight when I watch Crumb. No, but this is amazing, dude. Like I was mentioning Erge earlier and how that would be kind of a grail for me, as it relates to, non-traditional big 2 or American comic industry art. And like, if ever presented a scenario where it was like just an unpublished image like that, like I would need. Well,
it may be published just because I don't know where it was published doesn't mean it wasn't.
That's true. That's true. But
he did I would
need a lot of help. I would need a lot of people's help to, I guess, to.
It's been up in my Comic Art Fans for a long time with a thing saying if anybody knows where this is published, let me know, and I haven't heard anything.
Right.
But he also, a lot of the reprint books that have tiny little illustrations in them, and he might just not have used them all.
Right.
So it may never have been published. It doesn't matter.
Well, that is just kind of scratching the surface. I mean, if you look down here at your full gallery, like there's a lot of different artists represented and many different pieces. So like I said,
almost all of my art is penciled and inked by the same person. So most of those names are, unique to individual pieces. Right. I have very little penciler inker art. For what for no reason in particular. Just that's the way it works. That's just the artists I like mostly ink their own work. What can I say?
There you go. All right, well, dude, thank you for sharing all of your art with us. We got about 15-20 minutes tops or so left. I don't want to keep you all night. It's already late. So if anybody has any questions in the chat, feel free to chime in now. I do have some questions I took in advance, so maybe we'll just start there. Now, you may or may not have the answers to all these, because I didn't really vet these questions with you, obviously. So just answer do your best, however you want to answer. One thing that you probably will be able to answer quickly and then move on is, I don't remember how long ago this was, but I remember seeing in the press, maybe it was TMZ, that you guys were spearheading an auction or a sale. I don't know if it was
around 129.
Yeah, I don't know if it was an auction or a private sale, but for the published cover artwork for Amazing Spider-Man 129, which is the first appearance of the Punisher. And then it kind of just fell off the radar, or fell off my radar anyway. And I wanted to see if you knew anything about it, or had any information, or was there an update on that?
I can say that the art for that cover is no longer available for sale.
Got it.
That's what I can say.
All right. Well, let's go visit the guy. Let's go visit it. Somebody could charge entry price to go see that one, I would imagine. So well done to whoever that is. Congratulations. Okay, so another one.
All I said is that the art is not available for sale. I didn't. That's not implying anything.
I know. I can imply from there. Like the implications are all on my end. You're covered. Okay, so here's a question I had, and there might be a little bit, depending upon which version of ComicConnect or whatever, because I know that you guys have, within the last year, I want to say, did a website relaunch, right, with a new
about the beginning of last year. So
yeah, so a year and
so in January of 2020, so 5 years ago.
Right, exactly. Yeah, 5 years ago in COVID time.
Yes.
Time frame. But really only about a year and change ago. And so my question was, so here's my understanding of the way watch lists on ComicConnect work. If I add a piece of art to my watch list, or a comic, or anything you guys have up for auction, or whatever, and then after the auction concludes, as long as I had it on my watch list, I can still go back and see, this sold at X price.
I'm not 100% sure that that's the case.
Okay, so because at least for the last few auctions, I can still see in my watch list.
See stuff from previous auctions.
I can still see it when I go to my account, like my dashboard, and it shows me like what's active and what's sold, and this is literally.
That's how it works.
Like I don't know how long that system, like maybe it's a month, 2 months, 3 months. I don't know how long that time frame is, but I do know that I can see certain limited things from past results. But you can
closed auctions. Closed auctions should be available forever. Okay. I'm just not 100% sure that the watch list works that way. But if you're saying it does, then I assume that it does.
Well, as far as I know, that's my easiest way of finding the old results, because if I were to just go on to ComicConnect and search, it's not easy to find old results.
You can search. We're working on fixing that.
Got it. Okay.
It's that 100% that needs.
Because what I love about Heritage is just the open transparency to the collector market and the dealer market, frankly, and the auction market. It's good for it's useful for a lot of different reasons. Totally. But you guys are at least a little bit of a leg up above Comic Link, in my opinion.
Who takes their stuff down instantly.
Yeah, they pretty much remove it like the next day or the next morning or even night of. I'm not even 100% sure.
I'm not sure either.
And it's hard to sort of backtrack and be like, well, what did things sell for on Comic?
And even if you bid on something in Comic Link, if you lose it, you can't then see it again. You'll see it in your items you bid on list, but if you click on it, it won't let you look at it. You can only look at things that you've won.
Right.
Which is a little bit annoying.
It is a little bit annoying. Okay, we got a couple in live chat questions. Biggie's saying, do you have a piece that got away that you still think about?
I don't know if there's a specific piece. There's lots of things that, I saw available and didn't buy for whatever reason. Nothing that... mostly when I think about stuff that I didn't buy, it is more because of what they're worth now and that I can't get them now. And then if I bought it then, I could have made a whole crap ton of money. But I mean, I didn't buy a Dark Knight Returns page for $500 once because it wasn't good enough.
What?
In my defense, it really wasn't. It wasn't a great page. That doesn't mean I shouldn't have bought it.
Right. That's gonna give me some serious heartburn.
I started buying this stuff in 1991, 92, something like that. And you could buy pages for $20.
Right.
So if I could buy pages, and most of what I was buying was under $50 pages, for the first couple of years. So but you'd see stuff that now is tens of thousands would be $200.
Yeah.
But $200 to me, when I was in college, was my entire convention spending budget.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't likely to spend that all on one thing. So it's like, oh yeah, I could buy this Miller Daredevil page, but then I can't buy anything else.
Yeah, we would all be fat cats in hindsight if we could.
It's why I didn't buy a Kirby page back then too. It's the same thing. Kirby pages were people would have stacks of Kirby pages for $100 to $300.
Wow.
And it's like that was a lot of money to me when I was 18 years old.
Totally. Okay, so we have another.
It's in that the Ditko Spider-Man pages were $1,000.
Oh my God!
But $1,000 to me back then might as well have been $1 million.
No, it's all relative,
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so we got a question here from Matthew Fox that actually lines up with another question I got beforehand from somebody. So he's saying, is there another artist you want to get a piece from but have never been able to?
Having never been able to. There's lots of artists I want pieces by, stuff that's just unattainable. There's a lot of European artists whose work I would like. It's just either not available in America, or they're expensive, or a combination of the two.
Mm-hmm.
I want a Jack Tardy very badly, and they don't come up for sale that often in America, and
right.
So it's like that's the kind of thing where hopefully he lives long enough to make an appearance over here and I can at least meet him.
Yeah.
There's other artists. I have some Mobius, but just some free sketches that I got the one time I met him in the 90s.
Wow.
That's about all I'm ever going to be able to try.
It'd be nicer to have something a little more finished, and you can get, Mobius did a lot of work and it's, a lot of it is out there. So, you can get a decent Mobius, say something small,
right?
Or, for not crazy money. Crazy money is relative, but when you're talking about comic art, it's not crazy.
Especially when you're talking about artists like that.
A couple $1,000s, something in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
There's a lot of class. I don't have any EC art.
Mm.
I'd very much like an EC page.
Golden Age EC art, or.
Well, yeah. That's the only.
Like the horror stuff, yeah.
Yeah, a horror, crime, or. But I'd like one of those. There's a lot of stuff. That is there's a few. The nice thing about most of what I like my collecting focus is alternative and underground, and a lot of those artists are more modern. And it's outside of Crumb, most of them are relatively affordable.
Right.
But there's still some of those guys that I'd like to get pieces by. There's modern, there's modern artists that I modern like mainstream artists.
That's where I was going to go with my next question. Is like, has there been anybody in the last, let's say, 5 years that you've been impressed by?
I like Ian Bertram a lot.
Nice.
I like Sean Murphy a lot.
Hell yeah.
I like Chris Samney a lot. Chris Samney's a very classic comic artist. Yeah, I mean, there's always stuff around that's good. I want a Cliff Chang.
Hell yeah, man!
I should have bought a Paper Girls page 5 years ago.
I'm a big Cliff guy, dude. I have a Paper Girls cover. I've got 2 interior pages. I'm looking for more. Like,
sell one of your interior pages.
We can talk afterwards.
Depends what's in them. I'm very specific about what I want in a Paper Girls page.
I mean, that whole project is about to be on the bullet train, if you will. Like,
it is indeed.
They just did a casting announcement and everything. So,
I saw it.
Yeah. Okay, so I would hate myself if I didn't ask this question, and you can dismiss it and just be, or you can tell me you have nothing to do with it, you don't know, whatever. But I have to say it. One of the deterrents for me as a collector / bidder in auction, because I'm an active bidder in Heritage and Comic Link and ComicConnect and eBay, wherever it may be. I'm not always winning, obviously.
Sure.
But here and there, I'll sneak through to the other side and I'll win a piece of art. And one of the things that I think deters me or makes me a little bit more hesitant when it comes to ComicConnect, from a bidder standpoint, is the extended bidding, the extended bidding situation where I really am excited about a piece and I'm actively bidding on it, and I may be the highest bidder under 2 minutes, but then another bid will come in and it'll reset, and then I have another 2 minutes to consider. Sometimes I don't have 2 minutes. But
it's infuriating. I get that.
It's just and then I just sit there kind of watching that piece just get out of reach for me, like during that extended bidding round. So I don't know. Is that something you guys talk about internally? Like, you don't have to tell me we have a solution or we're making a change, but it's just I'm curious, I guess.
I mean, honestly, it's basically it's the same as the way Heritage ends in slow motion.
Yes.
Does that make sense? So it's not like Comic Link where there's that hard, like eBay style auction end.
Yeah, Comic Link is essentially a snipe bid auction. You can
and that's
put in your bid at the 11th hour or the 11th.
At the end of the day, it's my job to make as much money for the people selling the art as I can. Right,
your consigners.
And when you have a real style auction, where if people bid until somebody stops bidding, well, then the pieces are going to go for what the person who wants it the most is going to pay for it. And I mean, that's the way auctions work. I mean, again, Heritage is the same. It just happens faster.
Right. You don't feel the frustration as much with Heritage
because it's like 10 seconds.
Because you're essentially a gun's being put to your head. Like, do you want it or not? 5 seconds.
Sure. And we've had discussions about what the pros and cons of it being 3 minutes. You could make arguments both ways. I mean, I think a minute would be enough.
Right.
But it still would drive people crazy. There's no winning.
Right. Well, hey, look, I'm not saying I've never won on ComicConnect. I've crossed through the other side and won stuff on ComicConnect. I think more so on the comic book front, though, than the original art. Personally, but yeah, dude, we got the art chemist Arsenio in the chat talking about the Mysterious Time Machine shop, which I think is now closed down, which sucks.
My shop.
Yeah, man. So Hoarder Side saying Gunbroker has a 15-minute rule. There has to be 15 minutes without a bid for the auction to be over.
That's too long. That's insane.
Wow.
That would drive me completely insane.
15 minutes.
I've had things on Heritage where I was winning when it ended, and then it popped back in. It's like we've received. That's the worst.
Right, like the last second phone bidder. We'll go back to that lot real quick.
Yep.
Yeah, that's annoying.
No, that's oh. I mean, but auctions are infuriating. eBay is infuriating. You know, there's no winning. You're always going to be very upset when you lose things.
This is true.
You know, it's just there's no such thing as a perfect auction system. The perfect auction system is where I win everything I want for exactly what I want to pay for,
or less.
Or less, yes.
Or less. All right, cool. I'll leave you with a softball question. Anything you want to talk about coming up at either Metropolis or ComicConnect? Any event auctions, any original art auctions, any artist shows at the gallery coming up now that Sean Gordon Murphy is closed down, and just what's going on at the Metropolis scene?
I don't know that we're able to announce what the next show is going to be,
but you're working on one.
We are working on several. It's just a matter of which one comes together first.
Cool. So more opportunities for Kavi to potentially lose his money for art.
Exactly. That's my whole plan.
Right.
Hopefully the next show we'll be able to actually have a show that people can come to.
Mm-hmm.
That was, you know, it was disappointing. And the Sean Murphy show did, you know, from a results standpoint, couldn't be happier. Thrilled for Sean. I think he deserves it. I think his art is spectacular.
From an experience standpoint, a bit of a bummer.
Right. Because, you know, we couldn't have a party to celebrate.
Right.
We did our interview with Sean over Zoom. That was our opening, which was actually, you know, the flip side of that is that was actually really nice getting to talk.
That was
to
great.
Sean
that was great.
And have him sort of talk about his work, which is something you wouldn't necessarily get at an in-person opening. So that was actually,
he sold me. When he was talking about the page that I ended up picking up from him from that show from you guys, he's the one that sold me on it when he was on your.
Was that the page that he said was his favorite page in the issue?
I don't remember. I don't remember if he said it was his favorite page in the issue or not, but he basically walked through his whole creative process for that page.
Which one did you get?
It was the one where like Batman's like flying in through the window. You've got Gordon on there with Barbara.
Oh, right.
And then he's like consoling her, and he talked about like the intentional sort of framing decisions he makes as an artist, especially with Bruce Wayne and Batman when he's in a vulnerable moment. So he literally had that like you couldn't see his eyes in that panel or whatever, and that was like an intentional decision or whatever. But I just found it super fascinating to hear that kind of context.
I agree
about the artwork being offered.
I think even when we can do in-person shows, I still kind of want to do these like online interviews.
Totally, man.
For people who can't make it to the show, and two, it's a nice way to talk to the artists about the work and have them sort of, you know, explain whatever, you know, as far as they want to. You know, some artists are going to be more willing to talk about the process than others, and that's fine. But I think the feedback we got from that was all really positive, and it was fun. You know, honestly, I like talking to artists.
Yeah, man, for sure, man.
And so, as for auction wise, our next art auction starts in, I guess, 3 weeks from today. The 30 on Memorial 31st is the next big auction.
Trying to do a little bit of promo here for the site. There we go.
Previews up if you scroll down a little. The auction that's going on now is all comics. There's some really great stuff there too. If you go to the event auction preview, see some of the
schedule. Oh, there we go. Session 1.
Yeah, session 1. And then if you can filter just the artwork.
Filter by OA. Yeah, guys got a lot of video game stuff lately. I've noticed.
Yeah, I mean, hey man, who am I to say what people should spend their money on? You know, the more people buying things that I don't want is fine.
Well, it looks like, I don't know why this isn't loading, but
website? That's weird.
Maybe it's because we're on a live
That could be.
Here, my internet being. Oh, there it is.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, go
so
item
type, original art. There we go.
And yeah, the images aren't all done yet, but there's some good stuff.
So when does this? When does this one start?
It starts on the 31st and ends. I believe it ends on June 21st.
All right, man. Well, I got my homework.
Some good stuff. There's some great Chris Pachalo Shade the Changing Man pages in there.
Those look cool, man.
Love that comic.
Ooh, some nice.
That's an artist that I have. Yeah. What's that?
You got some Archie covers in here.
Got a fair amount of Archie covers.
Got some.
But there's some good stuff. There's a Black Orchid page. It's 4 Dave McKeon pages. Those are beautiful. We have a page in there from John Romita's first issue of Spider-Man 39. Wow. There's a Kirby Fantastic.
Yeah, that's the one page I already watched just for shits and giggles.
The Kirby page.
No, the Steve Ditko ASM.
Oh, the Spider-Man Ditko Spider-Man.
I'll be following every Kirby on every auction.
There's 2 Winsor McKay strips in there from 1906 and 19.
Oh, this is that Frank Springer cover you showed me at the office.
Oh yeah, with the most 70s Spider-Man cover ever.
Yeah, the one with the guitar jam. I
forget what's the tagline on the cover. It's something ridiculous.
Death Dance of the Hypno.
No, the other one. The other one.
Oh,
you can make it bigger. So
sorry.
All right.
Wrong button. There we go.
Yeah, Saturday Night Furor.
Saturday Night Furor.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So, now I might end up causing questions to make this stream go longer. I don't want to do that, but
fine. I'm good.
Like, do you provide like an estimation of valuation for your consignees, like before you do the engravement, or is it kind of, I don't know.
It depends. Sometimes people don't care. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, it depends. We try. It's hard. It's not an exact science.
Totally.
But if somebody asks, I try to give them, a range that I think is realistic. Sometimes things, in the past, few auctions, things have blown past that.
Right. Yeah. You're underestimating.
I don't know if you we had that Joe Madureira X-Men double spread.
Yeah.
In the last auction,
we covered it. We covered it on this show, actually. Yeah.
I told that guy I thought that was a $10,000 piece.
And it went for
$28,000.
That's
which I think was a record for Joe Mad art.
Yeah.
Period. I don't think any of his art has gone for more money than that, even covers, which is insane.
He's happy though. It doesn't matter. You
he didn't get any of that money.
Yeah. All right.
No, the consignor was thrilled.
I'm sure.
That's good. That makes I know what it's like to spend the years it takes to collect these things.
Yeah.
So if somebody's going to trust me to sell it for them, I want them to be pleased with the results. And you're not always going to be. It's the nature of auctions.
Right.
Sometimes things aren't going to do as well as you want. The goal though is if you sell enough stuff, if 1 or 2 pieces don't do what you want, maybe 1 or 2 will do way more. It's all, so it all evens out.
Right. And for anybody watching who's just not familiar with, that process, is there an email, or is there a best way to reach you if they want more to ask more questions about it, about consigning and the process or anything?
Sure. I can be contacted through my CAF gallery. My email is just micahs@comicconnect.com. So as you can just call our office. I'm in the office every day. Phone number is in every Overstreet guide for the past 20 years.
Nice.
Not the hardest phone number in the world. It's on the website.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not a difficult guy to reach.
Yeah, so guys, if you want to reach out to Micah, he's available. ComicConnect.com. Like you said, you got the event auction on the 31st coming up here, open for bidding. So look out for that. Look out for coverage of that on this show down the line when those results come in. Maybe I'll win something. You never know.
Hey, man.
We'll see, you know?
There's always a chance. Everything's $1 at the beginning.
That's right. That is right. I feel really good about watching the art when it's at $1.
It's like opening day. Every team's in first place.
For sure. So I just wanted to give everybody a quick rundown of the schedule for this show. In 2 weeks, Monday the 24th, we got the 4th episode of this new Beyond format. We're going to throw the invite out to a few other collectors, and we'll kind of have a group powwow about a couple different topics. Then 2 weeks after that, we'll just have the regular show, me and Tony, art show and tell, covering all the auction scenes, doing those auction recaps and covering the news. And then a couple days after that, not on the 2-week original art hour Beyond cycle, but more of a one-off pop-up show. We're going to have, this is going to be me with a one-on-one interview like I used to do in the original show, original art hour. So we're going to have the 32nd episode of the regular original art hour format with my guest, my friend Raghav, aka Comic Art Talk on YouTube. So so me and him will be hanging out for an hour, and we'll be looking at Comic Art Talk's collection for an hour on Thursday the 10th at 10 p.m. Eastern. So that's the rundown for the next 3 art shows here on Comic Books NYC. Anything else you want to add before we call it a night?
Yeah, I mean, thanks for you guys for having me. It's been fun.
No, thanks for coming on, dude. I really do appreciate it. Thank you to Metropolis for promoting it and everything. I can't thank you enough. It's we do this stuff for fun, and it's nice to just have a little powwow with somebody.
It is
super into it.
It's one of the, I think, positive things that's come out of the past year.
Totally.
Is things like this. Things like this have been popping up all over the place.
Totally.
And I've done a few of them. They're fun. I think it's better exposure than I think anybody would have thought.
For sure, man. I think it's the comic book hobby and collectibles hobby as a whole is growing, and all the different little facets within it.
Collectibles have gone completely insane in the past 6 months. Everything I collect is becoming annoying.
Everything you want is becoming unobtainable.
I collect a lot of things, and they're all annoying right now.
Right.
Hey, just means you got good taste, right?
That's my theory, is that when you have good taste if the things you want are expensive.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks everybody for hanging out. Please hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. If you're watching on the rewind, I really do appreciate leaving. If you left a comment, let us know what you thought of the show. Stick around for the semi-brief outro clip. If you want, hang out for a few minutes backstage, Micah, before we say goodnight. But thanks everybody for watching. Great show, great episode, and we'll see you next time.
Wait. I need to answer a question.
Last second question.
Collecting and hoarding are not the same. They are cousins. Collecting is focused hoarding.
There you go. Okay, focused hoarding. That'll be the last word. Focused hoarding. Hashtag it. Turn it into
I couldn't let that go. Sorry.
Later.
Where do I begin? I see the hate, they don't want to see me win. Bank deposits, I got more coming in. Top down, throw the money in the wind. I don't want it all. Heard he scammer, had to switch up the accounts. Moving paper, gotta call it my account. It's all in, I can have it coming out. They through the struggle, I can see another drought. Yeah, it's not a purse, it's a merch. 6 figures was a gold, now it's 9 or a hearse. Put it work. Used to pull up, not swerve. No time for the snakes, time to put them in the dirt. That's word. I gotta get it, it's in my DNA. You only see the highlights, don't know what it takes. Last year stressing, got no sleep. Now I'm right between the courts, I don't know bleed. I see the hate, they don't wanna see me win. Bank deposits, I got more coming in.